ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to address this gathering at such a crucial juncture when the impact of climate change has never been more apparent or pressing. Climate change is no longer a myth or a distant threat. It is here, and its consequences are unfolding before us with unprecedented intensity. Only this morning, Business Line, in fact, just a few minutes ago, published a report from the Copernicus Climate Change Services, C3S, confirming that 2024 was the warmest year on record. The global average temperature reached a staggering 1.5 degrees centigrade, above pre-industrial levels, with an average temperature of 15.1 degrees centigrade to 0.72 degrees centigrade higher than the 1991 to 2020 baseline. Alarming as this is, it marks only the latest chapter in a decade-long trend. Every year since 2015 has been among the 10 warmest years in recorded history. The C3S findings underscore a harsh reality. We are teetering on the edge of surpassing the critical 1.5 degrees threshold defined in the Paris Agreement. The past 2 years' average temperature has already exceeded this level. Except for July 2024, all months since July 23 have exceeded this critical mark, driven by one of the harshest El Nino events, which spanned from July 2023 to April 2024. Additionally, atmospheric concentrations of carbon dioxide and methane reached record levels in 2024 at 442 ppm and 1897 ppb respectively. The India Meteorological Department also confirmed that 2024 was the warmest year in India's history, with temperatures 0.65 degrees above the long-term average.
तो आज क्योंकि किसान भाई बहन यहाँ पर हैं और हमारे एफपीओ के प्रतिनिधि भी हैं और दिल्ली में कार्यक्रम है तो हिंदी में चल जाएगा. So I'll speak in Hindi. Climate change is a reality, we know that, and it is impacting agriculture. And not just agriculture, every facet. And the latest evidence of climate change is what we are seeing in Los Angeles, where in 3 days, the huge forest fires, and most of the experts in US are saying it's the prime cause is climate change. In deep winters, we are having the dry forest fires because the rainfall had failed in this season. So agriculture also has a huge problem. Agriculture में problem ये है कि आप देख रहे होंगे पिछले कई सालों से जब हम लोग 2000 इनफैक्ट सबसे आश्चर्यजनक बात आपको बताऊं मैं कि सबसे बम्पर क्रॉप हमारी कब हुई थी 2020-21 में जब पूरा ग्लोबल शटडाउन था और कोविड की वजह से मतलब सबसे अच्छा मौसम था हमारा और उसकी वजह से वेदर एकदम नॉर्मल पैटर्न पे चला था और ग्लोबल वीट की क्रॉप मैक्सिमम हुई थी, राइस की क्रॉप, पैडी की क्रॉप मैक्सिमम हुई थी, बहुत अच्छी क्रॉप हुई थी. उसके बाद 2022 में बहुत बड़ा एक ड्राउट लाइक कंडीशंस थी, 2023 में ड्राउट लाइक कंडीशंस थी और कंडीशंस ऐसी थी कि थोड़े दिन तक सूखा रहता था फिर एकदम बाढ़ आ जाती थी और एवरेज रेनफॉल नॉर्मल थी लेकिन कुछ एरियाज़ में बाढ़ थी, कुछ एरिया में सूखा था. दूसरी तरफ से 2023 में एक और समस्या आई कि फरवरी मार्च से 2022 में एकदम से गर्मी पैदा हो गई जिसकी वजह से वीट की क्रॉप में नुकसान हुआ. बहुत सारी हमें पल्सेस की वैरायटीज़, ऑयल सीड्स की वैरायटीज़ में नुकसान होता है. अनसीजनल रेन जो हमारा बुंदेलखंड का एरिया है एमपी और यूपी में वहाँ पर अनसीजनल रेन हो जाती है जो कि पहले कभी नहीं होती थी जिसकी वजह से तिल की हो या चने की हो इस तरह की क्रॉप्स में नुकसान होता है. तो इशू क्या है कि क्लाइमेट चेंज का इम्पैक्ट हम देख रहे हैं, हर तरफ से देख रहे हैं.
Climate change, and it has far-reaching consequences on human societies, environment, and economies. And it is imperative that we take notice of it and come up with mitigation strategies which address it in a timely manner. We are aware that it has impacted yields across the country. The rising temperatures affected the cropping patterns, the altered systems of rainfall with high rainfall and long prolonged drought spells have had their own impact on agriculture. It has also altered cropping patterns and led to I would say, disrupted the entire agri value chain in a manner right from the production to consumption. If you see the yields have gone down in many cases, the entire infrastructure has been impacted, transportation systems have been impacted, markets have been impacted. So there's a need to have a, I would say, a overarching and a very inclusive type of a thought process to go into addressing the issues of climate change. I stand here before you to basically present to you another aspect of climate change, since Agriculture Secretary has already pointed out on the issues related to agriculture. I come here as Secretary Cooperatives, and I believe that clusterization, be it cooperatives, FPOs, SHGs, are very, very critical in addressing the issues of climate change. I think we are, if we जैसे इकट्ठे हैं तभी मजबूत हैं. We can address the issues of climate change, be it adoption of technology, be it access to economies of scale, be it using digital, I would say, interventions, and having better, I would say, selling and buying capacities. All are primarily enforced. They are inclusive in their approach. So all this is very, very important, especially in the whole context of climate change. From the ministry side, a number of initiatives have been, I would say, unveiled to ensure that all these, the impact of climate change is addressed to a great extent.
NABARD being the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, we are conscious about the activities which are needed for the emerging challenges, and climate being the most important challenge right now we are facing. India, as you all know, is surplus in food, but when you come to the food security index, we are only 68. Why is it so? Mostly because the Indian agriculture is rain-fed, and there are a lot of variations in production, and there is no assurance of that level being maintained. Further, the population also is huge. So 61% of India is still rain dependent, and this 61% of the area contributes to 40% of the production. So that means the volatility in production can be huge, and climate will accentuate this volatility. So there is no doubt that we need to be aware of the challenges, and we need to take measures, both adaptive and mitigative measures for combating this thing. So the food security index is very important thing, and one more thing is that India aspires, because in India we have almost all agroclimatic conditions of the world, which prevents an opportunity for us to produce any type of agriculture crop, and then India can even aspire, because considering the productivity gap which we have with the world average productivity, India can aspire to become the food security provider to the world if our productivity is improving. And there are a lot of measures being taken by the government. But now, NABARD being an arm of the government, we actually are partnering with the government to complement and supplement their activities to bring the various players in the sector to the direction in which we should move.
It's already, we are discussing about climate change. It's cold outside, but over here, I think it's not warm, but it has even got a little hot. Yeah, so things have been put in the right perspective. We have had the IMD saying that India had its warmest year in 2024. We have the climate, Copernicus Climate Center for Service Center saying that the world went through its warmest year in 2024. I think this evening the World Meteorological Organization is holding a media conference where I think they are also going to repeat the findings of these two bodies. But happily, I think India has been the first to say that we have had a warmest 2024. While we were, structuring this conference, our attempt was first to see what is going wrong. So before we have the discussion on other things, we thought it's only fit and proper that we discuss what's really going wrong with our monsoon. And as the Agriculture Secretary was saying, after 2021, when we found an ideal weather, things have really gone this way or that way. I mean, 3 years, continuous years of La Nina, and then a very harsh El Nino, and a La Nina, and another La Nina, which is saying, here I come, hasn't come in yet, probably is going to set in this month. So, so with that in perspective, we'll now ask the panelists to briefly, to tell about them. So I will start with Dr. Pai, briefly about yourself.
Yeah. Myself, Dr. D.S. Pai. I'm Scientist G, India Meteorological Department. I'm looking after Agriculture Advisory Services.
Dr. Nabanshu Chattopadhyay.
Good morning to all of you, and it's a great privilege to be here. It's a very important topic. I worked as a head of the department in the Division of Agriculture Meteorology in India Meteorology Department. And after that, I joined with World Bank in the different climate resilience program in South Asia. And also, I am associated with World Meteorological Organizations in different capacities as an expert team, as a chairperson, and also consultant. During my services, I worked with the Climatic Research Unit in East Anglia University in UK, where I worked elaborately on the climate change issues on Indian aspects. Also, I work in the two societies for South Asia Forum of Agriculture Meteorology and International Society for Agriculture Meteorology. Thank you.
Mr. Ajay Rana. Ajay Rana.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Ajay Rana. I'm the chairman of Federation of Seed Industry of India and CEO and managing director of Savannah Seeds. I've been in food and agriculture sector for last 33 years. Have been fortunate to work on diverse crop, right from apples in the Himalayas to cotton in Maharashtra to soybean and corn in Americas, as well as rice in South America. So I have closely worked on agriculture and also feel proud to be a part-time farmer. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and Ms. Neha Kumar.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Neha Kumar, and I head South Asia work for Climate Bonds Initiative. So my introduction is in two parts. First, what is Climate Bonds Initiative? It works on mobilizing finance for climate solutions, and agriculture is a very, very big part of it, on defining what is green, on defining what is resilient agriculture. So that's one of the things that we do. Myself, I have been involved with sustainability, sustainable finance for last 21, 22 years, and particularly agriculture for about last 10 years, especially on mobilizing investments for resilient agriculture and looking at climate-related financial risks.
So in this session, we have representation from the industry. Most of them are industry veterans. We'll get to hear their views on how do they see climate change. So to begin with, Mr. Venkatram, so you come from a seed industry background. So how is the seed industry gearing up, to meet this challenge?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Hindu Business Line, for the opportunity. So, I think most of you who would be knowing it and some of you who don't know, seed is one of the important carriers for, impacting the yield, and it is a carrier for all the technologies which go through. So, augmented with the right kind of inputs and the right agronomy, seed would contribute to almost 20% of the incremental yield. Now, given the climate change and given the kind of challenges which we are having it, first is, I think I would take specific examples. Ajay was talking about it. The whole cultivation practices, while from an agronomy side, there would be a lot of changes which will happen, but seed as a vehicle of some of the technologies to mitigate this. One classic case is around rice. Ajay spoke about the direct seeded rice, but we are not only talking about a direct seeded rice, but direct seeded rice with, a technology embedded in it, what we call as the herbicide tolerant rice. There are companies which are working on it, and that once it gets implemented large scale, it will actually solve multiple problems. One is definitely, labor and labor availability is a huge shortage. It will also obviously solve the problem of, water, because as the earlier speakers were talking about, transplanted paddy takes a lot of water. So I think that will also solve that issue. And the third one is, obviously the yields don't get impacted because of these technologies. So you have optimization of the cost, optimization of the resources, which is water, and then to a certain extent, even the soil also would not get. So that is one solution.
So we have Mr. Kanwar from the crop nutrient segment. So basically, Mr. Kanwarji, how do you see this overall scheme of climate change? How is it impacting the agriculture, and what role do you envisage for a nutrient industry like, So
obviously, we now need to move towards mitigation of that. So the starting point of the mitigation is to look where the emissions are coming from. Agriculture in India contributes to 25% of emissions. Out of this agriculture emissions, 65% are coming from the dairy sector, 13% from fertilizers, and 13%, as Ajay was talking about, and I'm sure Ajit will also talk about, is coming from paddy. So these are the three key areas where the emissions are happening.
Okay, taking cue from what Mr. Kanwar was saying, Mr. Chahal, so how is Bayer crop science seeing this climate change in the Indian context? Like, what kind of programs you are running, and could you elaborate a bit on that?
Sure, thank you. First of all, thank you very much, Hindu Business Line, for organizing this summit on a very, very important topic. I think we need to address three problems for our planet in future. One of them is, how do we ensure food security for the growing population? As per UN Food Council estimation, we need 50% more food by 2050. And this is only one aspect is food security. The other aspect is, how do we ensure the nutritional food security, nutritional food. And so this is one element, and we know that the food production are impacted by different factors. And one of them, major problem is, which we are discussing today, is the impact of climate change on. The lands are, say, reducing because of infrastructure development and other things. That means we have to produce more from a less, land available. Second, the most important is the sustainability. How do we mitigate, how do we minimize the impact, in terms of on the environment, on the society at large? So to address all these three factors, one is to food security, the sustainable, farming, to address the climate change impact, and to address the, overall impact on the environment. What we are focusing at Bayer is regenerative agriculture.
So after climate change and monsoons and seeds, we are extremely honored to get a perspective from the ground. They've literally come from the field to tell us how, from a life which is largely sheltered in very, very backward, extremely poor areas, villages, they have come to this city to tell us how their lives were changed, how they are still changing, and what all needs to be done now to carry their work forward. तो हम लोग हिंदी में ही बात करेंगे. आप थोड़ा हमको बताइए सीता जी कि आप कैसे ड्रोन पायलट कैसे बन कैसे गईं? हुआ मतलब आप घर में थीं, बाहर ज़्यादा काम नहीं करती थी, क्या पढ़ी लिखी हैं कि नहीं? थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में बताइए.
मैं BA B.Ed हूँ और मेरी शादी 2007 में हुई थी. तो मैं शादी के बाद मैंने B.Ed किया है. B.Ed करने के बाद मैं घर में ही थी. तो 2018 में मैं महिला सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप के साथ जुड़ी हुई. हरियाणा राज्य ग्रामीण आजीविका मिशन की जो स्कीम चलाई हुई है सरकार ने, तो उसके माध्यम से मैं थोड़ा बाहर निकली, ग्रुप बनाए गांव में और बैंकों में गई। तो ग्रुप के माध्यम से ही मुझे ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग के विषय में पता चला और उसमें बोला गया था कि फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग भी दी जाएगी और ड्रोन भी दिया जाएगा। तो मेरा परिवार है जो स्प्रे का काम करता है खेतों में, किसानों का, तो स्प्रे का तो पता था, तो ड्रोन का नहीं पता था, ड्रोन से स्प्रे का भी कैसे होगा। तो ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग के विषय में पता चला, तो मैंने ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग ली गुड़गांव में, और ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग लेने के बाद मेरे को ड्रोन मिला।
आप अकेली बहू हैं अपने घर में जो पढ़ी लिखी हैं, मैंने सुना, आप बता रही थी कल मुझे।
जी मैडम।
और लोगों और औरतों में इस तरह की जागृति नहीं है जितना आप बता रही थी कि जब आप पढ़ रही थी तो आपके परिवार में भी थोड़ा बहुत
हाँ, मैंने शादी के बाद मेरे हस्बैंड ने मेरे को बीएड करवाने के लिए बोला कि आप बीएड कर लो, मेरा फॉर्म भर दिया, तो मैंने बीएड के लिए नंबर भी पड़ गया। जिस दिन मैं अपना बीएड में एडमिशन के लिए गई तो मैंने मेरे ससुर से आशीर्वाद लिया, तो उनकी आंखों में आंसू आ गए कि पता नहीं क्या होगा, गांव में ऐसा ही होता है पढ़ाई लिखाई के लिए, भाई कामयाब होगी या नहीं होगी। तो उनको ये लगा कहीं मेरे लड़के को ये भाई साजी वगैरह ना लगवा दे। तो फिर मैंने बीएड की और फिर मैं अपने सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुपों में बाहर निकली, थोड़ी इनकम भी होने लगी। तो आज गांव में मेरा नाम है। पहले तो हमें हस्बैंड के नाम से जाना जाता था, जानते भी नहीं थे। अगर आज हम गांव में अगर किसी को जैसे आते हैं, इंटरव्यू लेने के लिए आते हैं, तो गांव के किसी भी कोने में अगर पूछ लें कि सीता देवी के घर जाना है जो ड्रोन चलाती हैं, तो घर छोड़ के जाते हैं मैडम। अगर
बट इट्स नॉट
आज मेरी सास बोलती है, खुद उन्होंने इंटरव्यू में बोला है कि मुझे प्राउड है कि सीता देवी मेरी बहू है।
हाँ, लेकिन ये दिस इज़ नॉट बीन एन ईजी जर्नी। जब गीता जी बताएंगी कि जब वो जा रही थी तो किस तरह का भय और किस तरह का मतलब उनको डर था कि ये हो क्या रहा है, कैसे, कहाँ जा रहे हैं, क्या होगा, थोड़ा बताइए हमको।
जी, जब मैंने ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग के लिए अपना नाम दिया तो वहाँ पे पासपोर्ट मांगा गया। इससे पहले मैंने द केरला मूवी देखी हुई थी, तो मुझे डर लगने लगा कि जा तो रहे हैं, कहीं हमें आगे से आगे देश विदेश ना भेज दे ये। और मुझे डर के मारे एक बार तो मैंने मना ही कर दिया कि मैं नहीं ट्रेनिंग लूँगी, मैं बाहर नहीं जाऊँगी। बट फिर मैंने देखा कि ये तो बहुत अच्छी प्रोजेक्ट है भारत सरकार का, तब मैंने थोड़ा हौसला किया और अपने परिवार से परमिशन ली, अपने सास ससुर से परमिशन ली कि डैडी मुझे ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग के लिए जाना है। मेरा जो परिवार है ना वो मजदूरी भी करता है और हमारे खेत भी है, हम किसान भी है मेरे ससुर। तो उन्होंने कहा कि चलो आप ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग के लिए जाओ। सपोर्ट किया मेरे ससुर ने और मेरे परिवार वालों ने सपोर्ट किया और मेरे हस्बैंड ने, तो मुझे भेज दिया ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग के लिए। ये गुड़गांव में मैंने 15 दिन की ट्रेनिंग ली और हमने जहाँ वहाँ पे हम गांव से ही है, डर लगता था। बट जब हम गांव से बाहर गए तो हमने लगा कि वहाँ पे पेपर पास करने होते हैं। हमने पेपर पास किए और मतलब करने के डर में हम इतनी दूर गए गांव से और हमने डर लगता था, हम दिन रात पढ़ते थे वहाँ पे ये सोच के कि कहीं हम फेल हो के वापस ना चले जाएं और हमारी बेइज्जती ना हो जाए। तो हमें मतलब दिन रात मेहनत करके ड्रोन की ट्रेनिंग ली और एग्ज़ाम भी पास किया और एक ड्रोन पायलट का हमने सर्टिफिकेट भी लिया वहाँ से। थैंक यू।
नाउ थैंक यू वेरी मच। थैंक यू।
Welcome all back to the session. Not long ago, about 5 years ago, when as a IT reporter also, I also write on IT. When I used to write on technology in agriculture, some people kind of skeptics used to say, you are much hyping. See, agriculture in India is in the dumps. It is facing several challenges, though certain pockets are doing very well. You are talking about technology in agriculture, we are just hyping. So 5 years after that, the situation is completely changed. No one now actually questions you if you say technology has to play a major role in agriculture. It is already happening. So without much ado about this, I will start off asking Mr. Paresh Verma. Mr. Verma, see, biotechnology in agriculture has been a controversial subject. Whatever issues around controversy, I'm not going to ask you about that because this is not the right platform. So biotechnology in agriculture has transformed Indian agriculture. Cotton is a big example. But no, for 10 years, the productivity of cotton has gone up, the area has gone up. Almost all of the cotton area in the country is now under BT. But after BT1 and after BT2, now there seems to be a slack in the technology development. What do you think are the reasons of this development?
The technology, as you mentioned, is controversial only in some parts of the world. Unfortunately, India is one of them. But otherwise, in many countries, the technology has been accepted both for cultivation as well as for consumption. And we often cite the example of what is happening in Europe. In Europe, yes, they are not growing it, but they are all consuming it because they import it from countries which grow GM crops. We have already harvested the fruits from BT cotton like you mentioned. Unfortunately, because of the controversy and the regulatory scenario that we have had for the last 15 years or so, the technology development could not keep pace with the other challenges. In a biological systems are always dynamic. And as we have seen in the case of several other agri inputs, whether it's diseases, insects, etc., the technology development, there is a race between technology development and pathogens like diseases, insects, and so on. And because of the fact that we have not made enough improvement in India, actually the insect has won the race, unfortunately.
Mr. Mathur, see, it always happens like this. Some individual excellences, individual entrepreneurship drive technology innovations. After some time, the technology individual excellences take these advances to some stage, then the policy comes in place. So digital stack is one of those examples. Though it is late, actually it is happening now. Can you please give us an update? What is a digital public good? How it is important to drive innovation? And what is the status of the digital stack?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for this wonderful opportunity to be here. So you're right. I think if you look at the digitization of Indian food value chain, I would say for last 15 odd years, it's largely driven by startups. Though as Dr. Paresh said, the innovations in agriculture has been happening for decades, but largely government-led, right? Public sector-led. But last for 15 years, we saw thousands of startups coming and trying to build interesting models. So if you look at the innovations in Europe, in US, a significant innovations is around biotech. Interestingly, India is unique with 95% of the innovations in agriculture in India are still digital innovations, which is essentially digitizing the value chain for selling efficiently to farmers, for demand aggregation, for reducing sort of logistical cost, reducing intermediation, etc. And of course, everyone saw the benefit. There's a benefit which is accruing either to farmer or to consumer or in general to the ecosystem.
An endeavor like Solar Didi it addresses some very pertinent questions which are at the heart of the rural economy. questions like the stagnation of rural income, farm productivity, and above all, women empowerment in the rural areas. And today we have with us Devki Devi and Sunita Devi. Today they will share with us their experiences of this phenomenal journey. And make no mistake, Solar Didis can transform the agriculture heartland, where almost 80% of the farmers have agricultural land which is less than 2 hectares, which means lesser resources for irrigation. आप सुनीता जी, देवकी जी, आप दोनों का स्वागत है। मुकेश जी, आपका भी स्वागत है। सुनीता जी, मैं देख रहा था जब आपने वीडियो देखा तो आप हर्ष और उत्साह से आप भर गई। ये हर्ष और उत्साह का कारण क्या है? सोलर दीदी के बारे में आपको कैसे पता चला?
ये हमरा पता चलल समूह से, जीविका समूह से। जैसे मीटिंग भेल है तो ओहिमे के हम अथी हती लीडर, तो अगना में दीदी अलखिन मीटिंग करावे, तब ओहिमे पता चलल से रौदा से पानी पटने वाला चीज़ है। तो हम कहली रौदा से कौन चीज़ है, न चीज़ है पाटे वाला। तो हम घरे आके बतैली सबके, घरों वाला के बतैली तो कही बुरबक बना के तोरा चल गलो आ रौदा से कौन चीज़ पटे वाला है, न पटै छे। तो फिर हम अथी वीओ में गेली, तो वीओ में भी पता चलक से न रौदा से है चले वाला। तो फिर पता चलक 3 लाख 2.5 लाख रुपया खर्च होए वाला है, लेकिन हम तो गरीब आदमी हती, तो हम 2.5-3 लाख रुपया लाएम कहाँ से। फिर भी तैयो हम कहली घर वाला से इतना पैसा लाग रही, सही बात है। कहै न, तभी भी हम चोरा के हम पूसा चल गेली बेटा के मदद से। हुआँ देखली गनौर भैया के लागल तो बतलखिन, देखली चालू कऽ के। तो हम कहली ना ये बात तो ठीक है, हम लगा लेती तो घर से भी बाहर न कभी निकलली है। ऐसे लगा उगा लेम तो कुछ इनकम हो जाए। तो बच्चा सब गरीब है, खाए बाहर हर चीज़ के लिए दिक्कत होते रहा। अकेले कमाइत रहलखिन पेंट में, आज काम लगल तो कल ना, कल लगल तो परसों ना। ताहि के कारण हम कहली न, अब हमरा से न देखल जाते से, अब हम ही लगा के रहबै, जेना होते तेना लगा के रहबै। तो कुछ पैसा हम जीविका से 50,000 रुपया ले ली, आ कुछ बहन से 10% पर ब्याज पर लेके, आ कुछ रंगदे बैंक से बाद में ले ली, आ अगल बगल से हम ले ली कर्जा उर्जा। ओहो अगल बगल वाला हमरा कर्जा न देवे, कहे हम तोरा चिन्हबे न करे छे, हम तोरा कहाँ से दियो पैसा। कितना परेशान होइत होइत तब जाके हम ये सोलर हम लगैली।
सुनीता जी, आप और देवकी जी दोनों बता रहे थे कि कैसे आपकी बचपन में ही 14-15 साल की उम्र में शादी हो गई, आप 4वीं या 5वीं के बाद नहीं पढ़े। तो ये जो सोलर दीदी में आपने काम शुरू किया, इसकी प्रेरणा आपको असलियत में मिली किससे?
जीविका से।
जीविका से। आपका देवकी जी?
मुझे भी जीविका समूह से मिली।
तो आपने?
मेरा शादी 16 वर्ष में हुआ और मैं मैट्रिक 1992 में ही की, लेकिन मुझे जो है सो घर से नहीं निकलने दिया जाता था और इसलिए मैं कुछ भी नहीं कर रही थी। घर में बैठी रहती थी, अपना गाय भैंसी ये सब पोसती थी। जब जीविका के समूह के बैठक में हमको पता चला जो ऐसा आया है सिस्टम, तो हम देखने देवकी दीदी के यहाँ गए थे।
अच्छा
जी, फर्स्ट बार देखे और समझे, उसके बाद हमको अच्छा लगा, परिवार में बात किए तो उन लोग भी बोले जो ठीक है तब लगा लो। तो पैसा तो नहीं था, कुछ समूह के दीदी लोग भी सपोर्ट की, जो हम लोग देंगे आपको पैसा सो लगा लीजिए। तो हम 50,000 रुपया जीविका समूह से लिए और कुछ अपना था तो वो तो पंप करवा लिए। फिर पाइपलाइन के लिए मेरे पास पैसा नहीं था, तो रंदे से हमको सपोर्ट मिला लोन के रूप में। तो हम अंडरग्राउंड पाइपलाइन पहले 1200 फीट किए, उसके बाद जब और किसान लोगों का मांग होने लगा जो मेरे तरफ भी दीजिए, तो 600 फीट और करवाए।
I don't know how enthusiastic we'll be after the solar didis and the drone didis that we heard, but we do need to talk about something very important, and that's biomass. Because amidst all bioenergy resources, this is one which is available in abundance, doesn't cost much, started off, but still is not spoken about.
So before we move and start discussing on the issues, I would request each one of you to tell us a little about your project and what you are doing.
Thanks, Richa. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Madhur Jain, and I am representing Varaha over here. So Varaha is a climate tech venture, which is focused upon generating high-quality carbon offsets from sustainable agricultural interventions. So we focus upon regenerative agriculture practices, which can help store carbon within the soil at massive scale while making agriculture more sustainable, right? And so when we started in 2022 with a very small scale, I think it was okay. But once we started growing our business, we saw that there's a lot of biomass which is burnt on those farms itself. And as of today, we work with a million acres, more than 100,000 farmers in total. And that's a lot of biomass, which is actually being burned out in the open. And so what we started to do is we started to sort of collect this biomass from the farms and started burning them in the absence of oxygen at high temperatures, which is called pyrolysis. And so what happens is when you burn it at high temperature, absence of oxygen, it turns into condensed carbon, which basically makes carbon so hard that it becomes permanent in nature. So if you put it back into the soil, it acts as a biofertilizer, one, and second, stores carbon for more than 1,000 years, resulting into permanent removal of carbon from the atmosphere. And so as of today, we are the largest in biomass-based biochar carbon credit category. But once you start to make biochar through pyrolysis, you generate a lot of energy as well. And so each of our plant that we have in place today generates close to 5,500 megawatt of energy as well. And there are at least 23 plants that we are setting up in the next 2 years to do this, while getting rid of the menace of crop residue burning, creating a biofertilizer in the form of biochar, storing and removing carbon for more than 1,000 years, while creating bioenergy in the process to sustain different industries. So I'll take a pause over here.
So that's pretty enterprising.
Hi, my name is Ashwin Save. I am the co-founder of Biofuel Circle. We are a digital marketplace for biofuels. We are helping industry decarbonize by getting them access to solid biofuels particularly, and also enabling processors, producers of solid biofuels connect with buyers and find wider access to their products. Beyond that, we are a tech-enabled supply chain for agri residue. We help with aggregation of residues and putting them into this supply chain for conversion, not just into densified solid biofuels, but also into conversion to compressed biogas. Compressed biogas, incidentally, also generates a byproduct, which is classified as organic manure, and we facilitate bringing that back to the soil, so returning carbon to the soil and returning nutrients in the process as well.
So basically, we are taking it from where we are getting it.
We are creating a circularity of carbon there.
Yeah, very good evening, everyone. This is Maninder. I represent CF Group as the founder and MD. So we are an energy biofuel solutions company, and I would not call ourselves a product company. We are rather placed as an impact company in the country, because we started this journey way back in 2012-13, when we realized how grave is this problem of waste in our country. And we started working on various solutions only to reach biofuels, as in bio-CNG, as we used to call it when we started it, and now it is called CBG, right, to give a sustainable, commercial, environmental solution to the problem of organic waste in the country. So at present, we have around 12 plants that we are building, where 7 of our plants are going to be operational in 2025 and others in next year.
Welcome our guests in this last session, and the topic is very, very crucial, because when I speak to farmers, one farmer once said that you pay us the right price. Right price, there will always be debate what is the right price. And he said that we don't need any kind of any schemes. We will do our own things, whatever investment required, but you have to provide the real price for the crops. And it is a very difficult question. So when prices are the main factor, and we have seen in 2024 also, prices remain the key issues, and some farmers are already protesting, demanding legal MSP. And there has been debate going on whether legal MSP is feasible or not. So I will start with Mr. Deshpande, who is from NCDX. So he has a long experience with NERL earlier. So he will be able to throw some light on what are the challenges particularly, and how we can find some solution, we can move towards some solution.
Sir, actually it's very difficult to fix the problem. Because there are many variables are there for MSP, for MSP guarantee per se. But I'll tell you the three aspects to it. One is robust price discovery. Today we don't have the robust price discovery mechanism in the country. Second, we don't have the right hedging tools, price risk management tools. That is the second part. And third is the counterparty risk management. यानी मैं किसी को बेचता हूँ तो मुझे ठीक से पैसे आएंगे कि नहीं, और जो खरीद रहा है उसको ये गारंटी नहीं कि मुझे राइट क्वालिटी और क्वांटिटी का माल मिलेगा कि नहीं. So if you fix this major problem, I think the farmer definitely will able to get the appropriate price. I'm not saying because MSP is a different discussion, but I think he will get the price what he thinks. So the main is the infrastructure that is missing. I can stop here, then we can discuss further.
Yeah, we have Mr. Ashutosh Kumar from NABARD, and I would like to throw some lights on this, sir.
You know, agriculture is a sector which is quite different from any other sector in the economy. For example, when we are talking about manufacturing sector or services, generally prices are determined by the cost of production plus some kind of markup. I mean margin. But agriculture is a sector where prices are determined by weather conditions, demand and supply conditions, international market sentiments. So farmers are basically totally at the receiving end. Farmers are producers, but they are not able to decide the kind of price they would like to have. Whereas in other sectors, say for example manufacturing, when we are producing certain things, we determine based on what is the cost of production or cost of raw material, etc., and then we add certain markup. So essentially what I'm trying to say is agriculture is a sector which is little unique, and it is basically facing a very unique kind of phenomenon that we call cobweb phenomenon. If there is, by virtue of all kinds of initiatives, if the production is very high, still there are chances because of glut, the prices will go down. You know, farmers decide the cropping pattern based on previous year's price sentiment. So as a result, production, suppose previous year's prices were very high, so most of the farmers will go for that particular crop. As a result, production will go up. But since majority of the farmers are going for that particular crop, the prices of that particular crop will go down. So essentially, even if the production has gone up, income of the farmer is not rising. And other way around, if he is not with the trend, if the production is down, so in that case also income is lower. So this is what we call cobweb phenomenon in economics actually. So in that case, what I would like to just say, that this is a very unique kind of, like our other panelists have said, that it is very difficult situation and we have to somehow manage through some kind of risk, price risk.
ये warehouse receipt में आप 75% जो क्रॉप का वैल्यू है, जो भी आप रखेंगे उतना आप बैंक से लोन ले सकते हैं विथ ए रीजनेबल इंटरेस्ट रेट जो गवर्नमेंट डिसाइड करता है. देन उसी के ऊपर अगर जैसे 6 months में आप इफ़ यू आर कैपेबल टू पे, देन यू पे एंड जो भी है आपका इट इज सेटल हो जाता है. एंड इफ इन 6 months you get a higher price from the market, that is your profit basically. लेकिन उसमें इंटरेस्ट कितना लेते हैं और कितना फार्मर्स को प्रॉफिट होता है, ये अभी तक किसी ने स्टडी ऐसा कुछ किया नहीं है. प्रोबेबली आवर SBI expert from SBI, he may able to throw some light on that.
The point, the price risk is a subject which everybody has been discussing. There is no solution to that. That is why this POT, potato, onion, tomato, every year we have been discussing. Nobody knows the solution for that. And coming to, before answering to that, I would like to bring about this. There are two kinds of farmers. One is bigger farmers who will be able to utilize the products of futures and all that to hedge and all that. But in India, most of the farmers are smaller marginal farmers with smaller size. For them, the product which Mr. Mishra talked about, which has been launched recently by the government in WDRA, the product was already there. That is a pledge financing. Up to 75 lakhs, a borrower can avail finance against his produce by pledging the warehouse receipt. And it is up to 75 lakhs, it is treated as a priority sector if it is a e-negotiable warehouse.
An event of this scale would not have been possible without the support of our many sponsors. A big thank you to our presenting sponsor, NABARD, and the partner which co-powered the summit, FSSI, the Federation of Seed Industry of India, and in association with Yara India. A big thanks to associate partners NCDX, Indophil, Bayer Crop Science, TNAU, Cripco Agri, NSC, the Aqua Group, Hindustan Urarak and Rasayan, and our thanks to our banking partner, State Bank of India, and broadcast partner, NDTV Profit. And of course, a big thanks to all our editorial colleagues in the New Delhi office, and also to our sales team and the events and marketing team for having put their best foot forward for this summit.